Hey, crate diggers, Prince fans, and the vinyl community. There's a Prince tag going around, and I'm going to give you my take on it next on Vinyl Jeopardy. Hey guys, I'm Akila Sunrise, and as some of you know, I'm a little bit of a Prince fan, and there is a Prince tag going around, and I'm going to give you my take on it. And let me give a shout out to the Prince Army Las Vegas. Hi, guys. These are people who I have spent some time with. We have some meetings, we have some social events where we talk about some of the things that are in this Prince tag, some of the questions. So, the questions, I got them from It's Deb 15041, and she references Telly's Muse. I did not find the original tag, but that doesn't keep me from participating. So I think it's probably a great way to celebrate Prince this April. It doesn't all have to be tears and gloom, but we can celebrate the legacy of a great man. So the first question in the tag is, when was the first time you heard of Prince and your age? So now you all are really asking me what my age is, but it's no problem. I have no problem with that. It was 1979. I was 9 years old, and the first song that I heard was Soft and Wet. I heard it on the radio, and I remember my babysitter, who was a teenager, maybe she was about 15 or 16 years old. Um, she got the 45, and she and her friends would play it. And they had, well, she had on her wall two posters. One was of Prince and the other one was Leon Silvers. And she and her friends would talk about who's cuter, who has the bigger afro, who has the better mustache, who has the better smile, all that. So at 9 years old, I was in love with Prince. I thought that he was cuter, that he had the better mustache, the better afro, and the better smile and the better chest hair, because the picture that she had up was the one with him and the afro and the members only. I think it's a black leather members only jacket and no shirt. Woo! I just loved him. But eventually, I did start to appreciate the music more and started buying my own Prince albums and my own records, 45s mostly. I do remember that even as a little kid, I went to the record store and 45s were 45 cents. And when I would ask for money, that's what I would ask money for. I needed 45 cents to get 45s. So that was my first experience with Prince. The next question is, what's your top three Prince albums? And in Deb's video, she does the top five. And that's understandable because when you have an artist that you love the music of, and this artist has made more than 40 albums in less than 40 years when you include not only studio albums, soundtracks, um, concerts, music that he's done for other people, music he's done under aliases. We can easily get to 55 or 60 albums, the EPs, the stuff that he put out through Paisley Park. There's so much music. It's very difficult to come up with a top three or a top five albums, but I'm going to give you the ones that I like, not in any particular order. But the first one is the Rainbow Cheering. I really love the Rainbow Children. It has been a divisive one in the Prince community. People either love it or hate it. It's a very jazz based and album and has very complicated music. It is not. It doesn't have a lot of pop and rock on it. So it's not one of those albums where he says everybody sing together. You hardly get any of that sing-songy type of music on here. A lot of people don't like it because it also has a lot of religious talk. But one thing that I learned as a child, even listening to Prince's music, don't dwell too much on the lyrics. If you do, you totally miss all the great music. Um, He has on here some very deep thought also. Muse to the Pharaoh is one that I really love. Rainbow Children, I love that song. The Work, The Sensual Hereafter, Mellow Mellow. Well, it's actually the name of the song is Mellow, not Mellow Mellow, but I love that song. One plus one plus one is three. Excellent song and even better live. Um, Family Name. Hmm. Yeah. And Everlasting Now, last December. Everlasting Now is like one of my favorite songs. It's like in the top 10, and I could do a whole video on why I love that song. But for the sake of time, let me just say that the Rainbow Children, definitely one of my favorite. Maybe it will come out on vinyl because the Prince Estate has been putting out music on vinyl that was not on vinyl before. This would be one. The other one that I like a lot, just like you, Deb, is The Vault. The Vault is another album that is more jazz based than pop or rock. I like every song on here like you do, except My Little Pill. Now, funny thing is, when this came out back in the download days, for whatever reason, My Little Pill never got downloaded onto my computer, so I didn't even know that the song existed until I got the CD. So I thought that I loved the whole album all the way through, and I used to put this in my number one just because I like every single song on here. The song that I love the best is When the Lights Go Down, but once I heard My Little Pill, I didn't like that song. Um, but Five Women, great song. Joe Cocker has a version of that song. Sarah, The Rest of My Life. This is a really good album. Then the next album that I really love is one that everybody loves. It's a classic, 1999. This song has a whole lot of dance songs on it. It has, ooh, okay, it's falling apart. Guess that shows how long I've had this record. It has 1999 on it, Little Red Corvette, DMSR. Something in the Water is a song that I really like. Prince has done that in different versions, and I really, really like it. International Lover, a very sexy piano based song, and I do love Prince's piano, by the way. Next one that I really like is, gotta find it. Love Sexy. Love Sexy. This is an excellent album. I did see this concert as well. The It has several songs on it like Alphabet Street, I Wish You Heaven, Dance On, When Two Are in Love, Glam Slam is on here. But this album is one song. So all of it runs together as one song. It's meant to be listened to um, in order as one song. And I think that in itself is unique, something that a lot of musicians don't force you to do. So in this record, you're forced to listen to the whole thing because there's no breaks. Love Sexy is an excellent album. And then the next one that I really like is Sign O' the Times. This is a picture disc. I pulled this out because I thought it was more interesting than showing you the record, which has Sign O' the Times on it, which is, of course, a deep song. On this picture disc, actually, the B-side is La 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 He He He. On that record is When Two Are in Love, It, Beautiful Night, You Got the Look. It's a really good album. I think a lot of people put this, actually I've asked a lot of people, and a lot of people put Sign O' the Times in the top 10 at least of Prince albums that they like. Okay, next question is number 3. Who was your favorite Prince girl? Well, Huh. I also can't nail this down to one, but it's because I like different Prince girls for different reasons. So the first one, not just because she's from the Bay Area and so am I, the icon Sheila E. And this is my autographed copy, by the way, of Sheila E's album Icon. There's a lot of reasons why I like Sheila E. She is sexy, sexy. And I think that she was a musician who could keep up with him. She was an important member of his band, bringing in a whole lot of other great musicians from the Bay Area, because a lot of great things come out of the Bay Area. Levi Caesar, Eddie M, Tony, Bonnie Boyer, Rosie Gaines. Just she brought in a lot of great musicians, and she brought a great sound to his music. We hear her both on kick drum and timbales and on bongos on various and sundry records of Prince's throughout 30 years of his career. She shows up on a lot of albums. She's credited. And so I think that, and not only that, she seemed like she was a really good friend to him, even though they had differences romantically, they had differences religiously. She still remained a good friend. And her love for him was obvious when they played together. Everybody in the band had to keep their eye on him because they needed to know what to do next. Her eye was always on him. If you look at any of the videos, she hardly ever looked at the audience. She was only looking at Prince with very loving eyes. I do not know her personally, but I do perceive her based on what I've seen of her and heard her speaking, and following her through social media. She just seems like a really nice and genuine person. So Sheila E would be my number one, and then the next would be Vanity. And Vanity is my favorite because um, their romance was smoking hot. Um, and look how gorgeous she was. Oh my God, this woman. What they call it, Woman Crush Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? She, the chemistry between them was palpable. Um, it was very clear. Anyone could see that the affection that they had for one another was um, just wonderful. So here is my second Prince girl. That would be Vanity. So here, let me see what the next question is. What's your favorite Prince movie? Well, uh, Peaches from the Vinyl Countdown got on me a little bit because I didn't have all great things to say about Purple Rain. My favorite movie, I'm going to cop out, sort of, and I'm going to go with Sign O' the Times. Sign O' the Times. I like this because it is a concert video. It does have some vignettes in it. But when it comes down to it, for me, it's always going to be the music. I I like the music on Sign O' the Times, but I also like the performance of the music in this concert video. Um, Purple Rain is great, and the acting was really great. That would be the only way that we fell in love with this character called Kid. So I guess I would put Purple Rain as number two, just because it really was a a good movie as far as the story about the struggle, but there were so many things that were so corny about that movie even then that I don't like it as much as well, you know what, to tell you the truth, I didn't, when it comes down to it, I don't like Prince in movies that much anyway. I feel like the man was a musician and should have stayed in his lane. That's just my little Prince criticism, I guess. Oh, let me see. What's the next question? The next question is, where were you when you heard Prince passed? So I was at work, sort of. I was at a workshop for work, so I had my phone turned off. And so I did not get the news until late in the afternoon. And so I did not get the play by play every minute of what was happening at Paisley Park. So once the workshop was over, I still didn't listen to the radio in the car on the way back to my office. But once I got there, there were people there looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And then I started getting texts from people, family members, and people who I hadn't heard from in a long time. "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" So that's when I found out. And needless to say, I was very devastated. And I did do a whole video about that. So I'll put that in the wherever it goes. And so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on how I felt that day. I did already did a video about that, but needless to say, I was very devastated. But to answer the question where I was in a workshop, and thankfully, I was very protected from all of the bombardment of things that were going to happen at that time. Um, so those are the 5 questions. And if I could add another question, if I may, I wonder what people's experiences have been with Prince concerts. So I have seen Prince, I think, in concert 9 or 10 times. I'd have to recount. Um, the first concert, of course, is going to be the one that comes to mind most prominently, and that was 1982, the Controversy tour. And, I definitely fell in love with his music at that concert. That's where the shift happened from, "Ooh, I'm so in love with Prince," to, "Oh my God, listen to this music that this man is playing." So that was a pivotal moment in my Prince journey. So that's why I'm thinking maybe if I may add on a question, that might be one of the questions. And one of the things I was thinking about, this is not adding on a question, but as we think about what our top 5 or top 3, 3 or 5, top 10, whatever it's going to be of Prince um, albums, what are the worst songs? Now, Michael Dean did this on the Prince podcast, and it was absolutely hilarious. The guys were talking about what were the 5 worst Prince songs, and they really had me cracking up when they were talking about songs that have Mr. in the title. They were saying that those were the worst songs. I disagree, because Mr. Goodnight, I think, is a really good song, but they're right. Hey Mr., the Patti LaBelle song that he wrote for her, not great. Um, there's a bunch of other Mr. songs. Anything with, what's that song? Mr. Happy. Um, the other one, it's a political song. Anyway, they were right about that. The Mr. songs are not the greatest Prince songs, except for Mr. Goodnight. So those are some things to think about, to add on to the tag if anybody wants to do that next. Thank you so much for listening to me yammer on about Prince and giving me the opportunity to participate in the vinyl tag. Who's next? I'm out. Makila Sunrise on Vinyl Jeopardy.
These are my records.